Brazil is a country made out of immigrants, including immigrants from China, Japan, and Korea. East Asian immigration have gone through a series of challenges such as prejudice, cultural and social adjustments, and difficult work conditions. In the late 19th century, Brazil called for the abolition of slavery, which slaves in plantation decreased drastically. To compensate for the labor loss, the Brazilian government came up with the idea of hiring Chinese laborers. The question of hiring Chinese laborers had raised controversies in Brazil. Some Brazilians thought that Chinese culture was so different from Brazilian culture, Chinese immigration would be disruptive to the Brazilian society. The Brazilians were afraid of pagan cultures. When the Chinese immigrants came to work in plantations, they were treated like slaves with low pay. Chinese immigrants' contribution was undervalued as they were only regarded as a temporary solution to labor laws, and the controversies in the country made them struggle to gain acceptance from the Brazilian society. When the Brazilian government could no longer hire Chinese laborers, they found an alternative group of people, the Japanese. The Meiji Restoration started in 1868. Japan started to develop into a modern society as they were adopting technology and education from Western society. While the country was developing, their limited resources could no longer support all their citizens. As a result, the Japanese government came up with an idea of having their citizens migrate to other countries. Brazil was one of the most popular choices for Japanese, as Brazil was an agricultural country and the Japanese were good at agriculture. Japanese immigrants could fulfill the labor demand in Brazil, and they could also pursue a new life. To attract more Japanese, the Brazilian government started to advertise that immigration would be an opportunity for improvement. Some Japanese moved to Brazil with the dream of living a better life by giving up all their wealth in motherland, but they did not earn as much as expected. The difference between their dream and reality did not bring happiness to the Japanese immigrants. It was challenging for the Japanese immigrants to live in Brazil as they were experiencing discrimination. When the World War II exploded, Brazil supported the Allies, but Japan was one of the Axis countries. Japanese immigrants in Brazil were alienated after Italy and Germany had surrendered as a result of the rivalry. Some Japanese immigrants struggled to identify themselves with either Brazil or Japan, as both cultures marginalized them. Some Japanese Brazilians were educated under Western culture, and they would struggle to relate with their motherland. It was normal for Japanese Brazilians who went back to Japan for work, visit, and school had cultural clash with the Japanese. As Japanese culture is more reserved than the Brazilian culture, in Japan, the Japanese Brazilians were viewed as Brazilians. In Brazil, they were regarded as Japanese after generations of immigration. Unlike the Chinese and Japanese immigrants, the Koreans moved to Brazil later in the 20th century. Korea was developed in the 1960s, and there were challenges during the development, including overpopulation. Under President Park's Immigration Act in 1963, some Koreans in responses migrated to countries like Brazil to avoid chaos and seek peace. When the Koreans moved to foreign countries, they tried to build up their own identity that was neither from their home country nor from their host culture of immigration. The Korean immigrants usually identified themselves with other fellow minorities and others in diaspora, with little sense of belonging to the host culture and their cultural heritage. The Korean immigrants were in solitude and struggled more mentally, as they did not identify themselves to neither of the cultural groups, and their dislocation made them have little trust with their home country and the host culture. It was known that Koreans struggle more mentally after settling in a foreign country than those who do not. East Asian immigration was not a smooth process, as the Chinese, Japanese, and the Koreans went through a series of cultural adjustments, identity struggles, and discrimination from the Brazilian society as a result of historical development among countries.